There is $44 trillion sitting in the US stock market right now. And most of the people who put money there don't fully understand what they actually did. They heard a word, stocks, shares, bull market, IPO, nodded like they understood and kept going. And some of them made money. And some of them lost it. And almost none of them could explain exactly why either thing happened. That ends today. By the end of this video, you will understand the stock market the way a confident investor does. Not with jargon, not with charts you can't read, but with the kind of clarity that makes you think, why did nobody ever explain it like this? Let's start with a question most people never ask. What is the stock market actually for? Not how does it work, but what is it for? What problem does it solve? Who invented it and why? Here's the answer, and it's simpler than you think. Imagine you want to open a restaurant. You have a great idea, a great location, a great menu. The only problem is, the restaurant costs $200,000 to open, and you have $40,000. You need the other $160,000 from somewhere. You could go to a bank and ask for a loan. But banks want that money back with interest whether your restaurant succeeds or fails. Or, you could go to people who believe in your restaurant and offer them something in return. Not a loan. Something better. Ownership. Give me $10,000 and I'll give you a small piece of the restaurant. If it succeeds, you profit with me. If it fails, we lose together. That's a stock. A stock is simply a small piece of ownership in a company. When you buy a stock, you are not lending the company money. You are buying a piece of the company itself. And when a company sells those pieces to the public, thousands of pieces, millions of pieces, each individual piece is called a share. A share is one unit of ownership. Think of a pizza cut into 8 slices. Each slice is a share. If the pizza becomes more valuable, say it wins an award, becomes famous, expands to 10 locations, each slice becomes worth more. That's the basic concept of how stocks grow in value. Now, where does all of this buying and selling happen? The stock market. The stock market is not a building. It's not a room full of people screaming. It's not a magical machine. The stock market is simply a marketplace, just like eBay or Amazon, where people buy and sell ownership pieces of companies. The New York Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq. These are marketplaces. Companies list their shares there. Buyers and sellers meet there. Prices are set by what people are willing to pay. If more people want to buy a share than sell it, the price goes up. If more people want to sell than buy, the price goes down. That's it. That's the core of the entire system. Now here's where it gets interesting, and where most people start to get confused. If the stock market is just a marketplace, why does it go through these dramatic swings? Why do people talk about markets crashing or booming? Why do otherwise smart people panic and do the wrong thing? The answer is 2 words, human emotion. And the market has given these emotions names. A bull market and a bear market. Let's talk about the bull market first. A bull market is when prices in the stock market keep rising over an extended period of time. Usually defined as a 20% or more rise from a recent low. Feels good. Companies are growing. People are making money. The news is positive. Investors are confident. Think of a crowd at a stadium when their team is winning. Everyone's energy is high. People are buying more tickets, buying more merchandise, talking about how great everything is. That's a bull market. Confidence is up. Money is moving. Prices are rising. And here's the trap. Bull markets feel so good that people who were afraid of the stock market suddenly jump in. They see their neighbor making money. They hear about a stock that tripled. They feel left out. So they invest, right when prices are already very high. This is called buying at the top. And it is one of the most expensive mistakes beginners make. They arrive at the party just as the music is about to stop. Now the bear market. A bear market is the opposite. Prices fall 20% or more from a recent high. The economy looks uncertain. Companies report lower profits. People are scared. And when people are scared, they sell. Think about what happens in a crowded movie theater when someone smells smoke. Even if there's no fire, even if it's nothing, people run. They don't stop to verify. They react to fear. That's a bear market. People sell their stocks not necessarily because the company got worse, but because they're afraid everyone else is going to sell too. Fear becomes contagious. And here's the other trap. Bear markets terrify beginners into selling. They watch their investment go from $1,000 down to $700 and they panic. They sell at the bottom, exactly the wrong moment. Then prices recover, as they historically always have, and those same people watch from the sideline as prices climb back up. Buy at the top during the bull. Sell at the bottom during the bear. That is the pattern that costs ordinary people billions of dollars every year. Not because the market is evil, because their emotions made the decisions for them. So what's a market crash? A market crash is a sudden, sharp drop in stock prices, usually happening in days or weeks rather than the gradual months of a bear market. Crashes are violent, fast, terrifying if you don't understand them. The 2008 financial crisis, the COVID crash of March 2020, the dot-com collapse in 2000. In March 2020, the entire U.S. stock market dropped nearly 34% in about 33 days. People who watched their portfolios lose a third of their value in 1 month and sold, locked in that loss permanently. People who held their position, or who bought more during the crash, watched the market recover to new all-time highs within months. The market recovered. It always has recovered. Not because of luck. Because the stock market is tied to the long-term growth of real companies that make real products and real profits. But the crash is terrifying when you're in it. And that's where volatility comes in. Volatility simply means how much and how fast prices move. A highly volatile stock can go up 10% on Tuesday and down 8% on Thursday, for no obvious reason. Volatility is not your enemy. Volatility is the price you pay for the opportunity to grow your money. Think of the ocean. If you want to get to the other island, you have to deal with waves. You can't have calm water and the ability to cross. The waves, the volatility, are the cost of the crossing. Experienced investors don't fear volatility. They expect it, they plan for it, and they don't make decisions based on it unless the underlying reason they invested has changed. Now let's talk about something that generates enormous excitement and enormous confusion: the IPO. IPO stands for Initial Public Offering. It is the moment a private company decides to sell shares to the public for the very first time. Before an IPO, a company is private. It has investors, maybe friends, family, venture capital firms, but regular people can't buy a piece of it. An IPO is the company saying, "We're opening this up. Now anyone can buy a piece of us." Think of a restaurant that's been operating quietly for years. It's profitable. It's growing. The owners decide they want to expand to 50 locations, but they need a lot more money to do it. So they go public. They list their shares on the stock market. The public buys in. The company gets the capital it needs. The day of an IPO is usually exciting. There's media coverage. The stock often opens high because demand is strong. Everyone wants to be first. And this creates the IPO trap. People see a famous company going public, feel the excitement, buy shares on day one at the peak of hype, and then watch the price fall back down over the next weeks and months as the excitement cools and reality sets in. Not every IPO fails. Amazon went public in 1997 at $18 per share. One share today would be worth thousands. But Amazon was an exception. Many IPOs underperform after the initial excitement fades. The rule of thumb for IPOs: be excited about the company, not about the event. Here's the story that ties everything together. Two people. Two different approaches. Marcus and Diana. Both 27 years old. Both put $5,000 into the stock market in January of a particular year. Marcus watches every day. He sees the market rise and gets excited, so he puts in another $3,000. Then the market dips. He panics. He sells everything. He ends the year with $4,200. He calls the stock market a scam. Diana invests her $5,000 and doesn't touch it. The market drops, she doesn't sell. The market rises, she doesn't celebrate by buying at the peak. She just holds. She ends the year with $5,600. Same market. Same year. One person loses. One person grows. The difference was not intelligence. It was not research. It was behavior. Marcus let the bull market pull him in at the wrong moment, and the bear market push him out at the wrong moment. He bought high and sold low. Diana stayed consistent, stayed patient, and let time do its work. This is not hypothetical. This pattern plays out across millions of investors every single year. The data is clear. The average individual investor consistently underperforms the market, not because the market is rigged, but because human beings are emotional creatures making emotional decisions in an environment that rewards patience and punishes panic. Let's pull this all together. The stock market is a marketplace where people buy and sell ownership in companies. A stock is a piece of ownership. A share is one unit of that piece. A bull market is when confidence drives prices up. A bear market is when fear drives prices down. A market crash is a sudden violent drop, historically followed by recovery. Volatility is not danger. It is the normal up and down movement of prices. It is the cost of the opportunity. An IPO is when a company goes public for the first time, often exciting, sometimes overhyped, occasionally historic. And the biggest risk in the stock market is not the market itself. It is your own reaction to it. The market rewards patience. It punishes panic. It benefits the consistent. It destroys the reactive. Warren Buffett, arguably the greatest investor who ever lived, made most of his wealth not by finding the perfect stock but by holding good companies for decades through bull markets, bear markets, crashes, volatility, and IPO hype cycles. His edge was not information, was behavior. Now you understand what the market actually is. Now you understand the vocabulary that used to feel intimidating. Now you understand why the person who holds through the crash usually wins, and why the person who buys at the peak and sells at the bottom usually loses. The stock market is not a casino. It is not a conspiracy. It is not reserved for the wealthy or the elite. It is a system. And now you understand it.